Okay, so throughout this week, I had some video ideas from conversations we've had. One of them was reading the Bible out of love and not pressure. So, yeah. So here's the reason why I'm making this video. I'm just speaking to my group, or at least trying to make this make sense. And I'm gonna make it all, tie together. So let me just explain why I wanted to make this video. So I obviously run a Bible study, in case anyone doesn't know, on Discord. And right now it kind of consisted of 4 people, which is really funny because there's like 7 or 8 in the group. And I only was seeing maybe 4 people per night, which isn't bad. But the problem is the past few weeks, there was people showing up an hour late and they missed the reading, stuff like that. I'm like, okay. And then it's like, what are we doing? And then I have one person shows up on time, does all the stuff, he's prepared, and then it's like, then the other members are not that prepared. So I'm like, okay, something isn't working. Just us reading the Bible together isn't working because no one's showing up. And then people show up late, and it's like, if you're gonna show up late, don't even join. You're just gonna miss you're gonna miss the whole point. So why bother? If you're gonna join when the reading's done, then why join? What's the purpose? Right? So what I started doing is I would try to have a talk with some of the group members to explain what I'm going to try and do. Of course, I didn't get a hold of all of them because, I don't know, because people aren't around. I said, okay, so what we're going to do instead is we're going to read something from the Bible independently, and then at 9:30, instead of us reading together about something, we'll come together and talk about what we read. So I'm like, this is foolproof, because that means someone has to do the work outside of this. Now, some of my friends that are in that group that are new to following Christ or newer, I'm trying to help them get into the routine of reading the Bible daily, right? And so I'm like, if they're just relying on every day at 9:30 to read at the study, which is fine, if they're just relying on that, well, how are they, if something were to happen to me or I don't host the readings anymore, then how do I know they're going to keep reading if something were to happen to me? So I'm like, let me help them make it a routine that they read the Bible on their own time rather than just whatever, so they can get used to making time out of their day for the Bible rather than just at night when everyone's already around anyway. So that's the context. So in doing so, remember how I said there was one person that was doing everything? Well, he is doing, the readings or whatever. He's doing it still. And I figured if I'm going to do this, I might as well do something to help him since he's the only one that's trying. And before anyone else in the group gets all offended, oh, what do you mean, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get into that. I already made a video talking about, lukewarm behavior or not having an urgency for following God, putting him below everything else, not setting priorities and not having time management. That's already mentioned in the other video, right? If you can't spare time for God at 9:30 to read his word, I don't know what to tell you. Don't take offense from me. If we're reading the Bible at 9:30, I guarantee you there's probably nothing else that's more important than that. For that moment at 9:30. I don't. If it can wait an hour, it can wait an hour. You know what I mean? Anyways, so my point being is what we're doing in the thing is I'm having them read the Bible. And then I'm having them pick some verses that they like, usually around 5. And then, so that way when they come to when we come to the 9:30 study, right, we can talk about what we read and not just say, oh, I read Corinthians and it was good. No, what did you like about it? Is there any verses that stuck out? What did you think? What did you take away? You can't tell me you read the Bible and then don't take away anything. I always do. So I'm like, I'm doing this to make it a little more challenging for them because I want them to spend more time with what they're reading, So in doing this, now I'm putting it back to the, reading the Bible out of love and not pressure. I think because obviously, another member is trying to catch on and do what we're doing. He's doing pretty good at it. But I think their motives are in the wrong spot because they're asking me, like I have some weird authority, like, oh, is this good enough? Is my takeaway good enough? Do you like these verses? Like, what? Hold on a minute. Don't ask me my opinion. This has nothing to do with me. This is you reading the Bible for you. So that way you read it, you can know what it says, and you learn about it. Not just read it and then forget what it says. It talks about that in James, right? People who read the Word of God and not listen to it or obey it is like looking in the mirror and then forgetting what they look like. Now, obviously, obedience and just remembering is two different things. I get that. But if you read the Bible, and this, I can speak from experience, for the first half of the year, actually no, first almost a year I was reading the Bible. I just read it to read it. I read it to check it off a list. And I'm like, all right, I read the Bible today, done. Time to go do something else. It was just to get it out of the way. And guess what? I learned nothing. I didn't learn very much. That's the truth. I didn't learn very much for the first amount of time. I didn't. I learned more from watching debates online and stuff like that. Then I started picking up things. But the Bible itself, well, no, I never spent time with it. I didn't meditate on the Word as it says, and that's what it means. It doesn't mean to go home. No, to meditate on the Word means to spend time with it, you know? It talks about that in Deuteronomy back when there was the book of the law, right? Talking about the commandments, and it said to talk about them, you know? Write them on your mind, write them on your forehead, write them on your doorways, and yes, this is all what it says, you know? Write them on your hearts, you know, have them on your lips all the time, which means to talk about them, meditate them on day and night. So obviously, if back in Deuteronomy, if their book of the law was something that they wanted to spend a lot of time with and make sure they knew, how come we don't do that with the Bible? Now, I understand we got the Holy Spirit and He will remind us, yes. You still need to read the Bible. You can't just say, oh, I got the Holy Spirit, I don't need to read the Bible, He'll just tell me what it says. No, you need to read the Bible so that way you have it equipped, right? So that's how it works. So anyways, we're doing this thing. Some of the members don't even know what's going on because unfortunately some members have never reached out or pay attention. I have some members that are so inactive in the server that they don't even notice that we're doing something different. They don't even notice that we're not reading Revelation anymore. We're doing something they don't even know what's going on. Well, if you guys want to keep communication with me, you know, when you do that, I'll be able to keep you informed, right? Anyways, so there's two people in this group right now. They're doing the ratings and they're doing whatever, but I think they're having trouble understanding why they're doing it. So this is the whole heart of the video. So I got context out of the way. Here's the reason why, right? They're missing the point because, like I said, the one kid was like, "Well, do you like my takeaway? Do you like my verses?" And I'm like, guys, pause. Big pause right here. Big pause. Reading the Bible should not be a chore, and it shouldn't be a burden, and it shouldn't be anything else to you. That's the first claim I'm going to make. Second thing is you shouldn't feel like you have to read the Bible because of me. Also, you shouldn't read the Bible to just check it off the list either. What you should do is you should want to read the Bible. Now, I understand there's Satan, there's demons, there's resistance. I get that. I totally get that. You're going to yawn when you read. I understand that. I totally get that. Here's the thing. I think that there's members, and I am not mad, I'm not condemning, I'm just saying, because I want to correct it. If it's there, I want to correct this, and that's why I'm making this video. It's for my group, and I guess if anyone else watches it, then someone else will learn something from it. But for the people in my group, right, when we're reading the Bible, and I'm asking you guys to pick the verses and stuff, and I'm only asking that because I've noticed when I've asked you guys before, because I used to pick verses for me, I started doing this journaling and all this stuff. It helped me a lot. And I told them about it. I said, guys, I found this thing. It works great. You guys should do it too. And I didn't do anything. And I noticed when I would say, okay, so, because we did this before. I'm like, okay, so what did you read or what did you take away? You cannot tell me. You just read a Revelation chapter and then tell me you don't know what you took away. There's bombs being dropped. There's people dying. It's telling that unbelievers and all these things are going to happen to this. You have the mark of the beast, and you're going to tell me you don't know I don't know what to take away from that. You know what I took away from that? Not many people will be saved. That's what I took away from that. You know what I took away from that? Wow, repentance must be extremely important right now in the end times. You know what else I took away from that? We need to have great discernment right now, or we need to seek it, pray for it, because this is the time to have it. You cannot tell me reading this stuff from the Bible, like, if you don't know, just say you don't know. If you read something from Corinthians and something doesn't make sense, that's fine. It's like, hey, I read it, I don't really understand what it's saying. That's better than, or another one is they'll just repeat a verse. Well, those that do this are blessed are those. That's not a takeaway. You're just reciting a verse to me. That's verse 9. I don't want verse 9. I want what you think. I want what you took away. What did this mean something to you? I don't want your opinion. I want something I want like an emotional standpoint. Hey, hey Moosey, I read this. I read Corinthians, and you know what? There was a couple verses, and man, this stuck out to me. This made me think about this, or this made me think about that. Or hey, I read Galatians, and this stuck out to me. That's what I'm kind of looking for, and I'm not enforcing that, or I'm not trying to be whatever. No one has to do any of this. You don't want to do the writing, you don't want to do stuff. I don't care. That's not whatever. But I'm trying to make it hard for them, so that way when they read the Bible normally, they can figure out what they like. They can say, okay, I like picking verses, I like doing this, I like writing, or I don't like writing. Or maybe whatever. Like one member likes to he has like a book or something, like a little thing, like a notebook, and he likes to take his favorite verses from all of what we read and just put them in there. So everyone has something different, but you're not going to know if you don't try those things. So that's why I'm like here, try this, try that, try this, try that, But also, you look really weird, and this was me. I was guilty of this when I read the Bible with my friend in the beginning. And she would be like, okay, so what did you take away from that? Back when I was reading like 1 Timothy or something, she'd be like, okay, what did you take away? Like, what did that mean to you? Like, what do you think about what you just read? And I always looked at her and I was like, I don't know, I gotta read it again. How stupid. I just read it and I gotta read it again. She just asked me a basic question. Hey, what did you think about that? What did you take away? What do you think? Oh, I gotta read it again. That was me. I did that. Not once, not twice, months I did that. And guess what? I didn't learn anything. So that's why I'm trying to have my group members do this. I'm like, guys, pick 5 verses and then tell me what you think. It's not hard. You don't have to do it, but I encourage you to just push forward and do this because I want to see what it does for you. And I've seen the results. One person started remembering things a lot faster and a lot better. And I'm like, see, it works. Satan's just having this pushback. But the thing is, with all of this, the problem is since I'm asking them to do this, they're taking us a different way, partially. I'm not saying you are or aren't. I'm just saying, I think some of them are having the wrong motive. Like, oh, I guess I got to read the Bible today, otherwise Moosey's going to blah, 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 and be weird and ask me why I didn't read it. No, you should say, hey, I want to read the Bible. Why? Because I love Jesus. I love God. That should be the reason. You see the difference? Now, am I saying I do this? No, I still struggle with this. But I'm going to talk about it, because if I don't talk about it, how is anyone ever going to change? So the point is, you should wake up, or whenever a part of your day, you should say, you know what? I feel like reading the Bible. I want to read the Bible. Why? Because I love Jesus Christ. I'm interested in the Bible. Not, I guess I'll have to, because at 9:30 when we go to the call, and I'm going to look really dumb when I don't know what I read. No, it should be, I want to read the Bible. In fact, they should have asked me this before. I should have came up with this before. None of us have, because we all struggle with this, including myself. But that's how it should be. It should be, I want to read the Bible. I want to learn about Jesus. Why? Because you love Jesus. Right? Because through love, we're transformed. And then we'll be able, it just works together. When you love God, everything will fall into place. Before anyone's like, oh, that's not true, that's not true. Actually, it is true. In the Bible, Jesus says, the greatest 2 commandments are love God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and love people. Why does he say these things? Rather than just recite the 10 commandments. Why? Because if you love all people, what will happen? You won't look at women lustfully, you won't steal, you won't lie, all this, it'll fall into place. If you love God with all your heart, soul, and mind, guess what? You also won't have idols, you won't be saying his name in vain, right? Whatever other stuff, you'll have him number 1 in your life. So when Jesus says that, he's saying that with an intention of having people if they make that their goal, then the other things will fall into place. If you seek the goal of loving people as yourself, then you don't need to struggle with, oh, I need to stop looking at a woman lustfully. No, stop thinking about the lust part. Love that woman because God made her. Wow, that's a sister in Christ. That's God's daughter right there. So I won't look at her lustfully because it's God's daughter. I won't steal from that guy because that's God's son that I'm messing with. So I better not mess with him. I won't not lie to my dad, mom, or brother or sister because I don't want them to lie to me. Treat others how you want to be treated. That's in Luke 6. So, stuff like that. If that is true, which it is true, we all know that, then that should be the same with reading the Bible. It should fall under the God side of it. Love God with all your heart, soul, your mind. You can't tell me that if you say you love Jesus but you don't want to read the Bible, that doesn't make sense. That's like saying, I love my wife so much. Oh, I love my wife, but oh, I hate going to dinner with her. Oh, I hate spending time with her. No, then you don't love your wife. You can't. It doesn't make any sense. Oh, I love so-and-so, but I can't stand being around them. There's another video on love I'm going to make, which is called Love is Understanding, but we'll get to that, and that's another video. But so my point being, if you love Jesus Christ, or that's your goal, then you should want to read the Bible and say, I just feel like reading the Bible. Why? Well, I just simply love God. I can't help it. I want to read it. I find it interesting. Even if I don't understand, I'll accept it. I'll read it. Spend time with it. Why? Because you love Jesus. So because you love Jesus, that love for him should come through you and should show. Likewise, your love for others will show with fruitful, righteous actions. If I, again, what the analogy that I said, if I love everyone, then I'm not going to look at people lustfully. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to steal, whatever, right? So if I love God, and these things will fall into place automatically as they should, then that means I'll want to read the Bible. It won't be so hard. I won't have to check it off a list. Oh, I have to read the Bible because otherwise I don't want to go to the call, because then when I go to the call, I didn't read anything and I'm going to look dumb. First of all, I don't even know how, you have the entire day to do this. This is 9:30 at night. I know for everyone else, the time zones, it's not exactly 9:30, but whatever. It's like I wake up, pray, and I read the Bible before I go to work. If I have to go to work at 6 in the morning, great. Then I'll get up at 4 in the morning and read the Bible at 4:30 or 5 in the morning. Get up earlier, make the time for it. But why? Why do I have to do that? Because you love Jesus, right? You're a Christian. That's how it works. See? Is any of this starting to make sense now? Well, I don't want to have to get up earlier. I don't want to have to do that. Yeah, but don't you want to prioritize God? What is with this thing of people struggling to like God so much? He made you. He created you. He makes sure you're fed. He makes sure you have this, that, and the other. And if you don't, it's because he's sharpening you and strengthening you. He's there when you need him. You pray to him. He listens. You should just love him regardless. He's your Father in heaven. That's logically, yes. Do we all? No, and I'm not condemning. I'm just saying, theoretically, we all should just love him by default. But we don't, because we're attracted to the world, because we're all born into evil. And that's another entire conversation. But that's the stasis. So my point being, and again, if you're someone in the group that does not prioritize God already, this should be kind of a wake-up call. I'm not saying you need to go through all these hoops and drifts just to read the Bible. But if you catch yourself not even thinking about reading the Bible and it doesn't cross your mind, there's something going on there and you need to change that. You're either distracted or something else is ruling your life, and something's got to be changed there. It's like, oh, you're putting this pressure on me and blah, blah, blah. I'm just telling you something. And here's the thing. If Jesus were to return in 2 days, what would you do? What would your life look like? Today's Saturday. So let's say Jesus' return is confirmed. Somehow we can see it coming. Let's just say Jesus is going to return on Tuesday morning. What will your life look like? Everything that was suddenly important to you is just not important anymore. Everything. From this place to that place, this schoolwork to that schoolwork, this job to that job, this person to that person, this burden to that burden, this problem to that problem. Oh, all of a sudden, everything that was important no longer is important anymore. Right? My point being, you should prioritize God daily. It says it in the Bible. I don't remember the verse, forgive me, but it says, take up your cross daily and follow me. That's Jesus speaking. Daily. Highlight that word. Daily. Not take up your cross weekly, bi-weekly, every other day. No, daily, every single day. Not hourly. He didn't say hourly. He's daily. Okay? So it's not like it's, make sure you follow me every minute. It's daily. And if you seek and you find that, it will fall into place as it should be. And I say this to myself because I personally struggle with the OCD of if I'm not immediately doing something God-related and I feel like, oh no, what am I doing? I took 5 minutes to cook food and that's 5 minutes I could have read the Bible. That's just the overanalyzation problem I struggle with. So if you struggle with that, hey, he said daily, not hourly, not minutely. Not, if you don't follow me for 60 seconds, no, he said daily. Follow Christ daily. Live it out. Find time for him daily. Glorify God in all that you do. Don't stress about the small things. Seek the big things. So that means if you struggle with reading the Bible, and I know that was a whole weird analogy, but if you struggle with reading the Bible, make this your goal. Don't worry about reading the Bible as reading the Bible. Worry about loving Christ. It's a love problem. Because I do this too. I don't love Jesus as the most as I could. I don't. I love him a little bit. What was that? What the heck am I hearing over here? Clicking noises over there. I mean, I don't love Jesus with all my heart. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with you. I struggle with that. I love him a little bit. Do I love him all the way? Absolutely not. I still struggle. But that's why I'm making this video, so we can be aware. So let us all make it that goal to love God more than anything else. Because if you do, everything else will fall into place. You will want to read the Bible. It's not going to be, I have to read. No, you'll want to read the Bible. You'll want to love this person. You won't be saying God's name in vain because you love him that much. You won't have these idols in your life. You're not going to let video games and work and things and other things rule your life because you love God. You'll put God first in all that you do because he's the most important thing in your life. Does that make sense? So that's all I'm saying. So pray about this. And I don't want anyone asking me anymore. Moosey, what's your opinion? Is my takeaway good? Is that a good takeaway? Don't ask me if it's good. It's not my opinion. I am no judge. I have no authority. I'm a nobody. I am on the same level as you. It is all of us together trying to follow God, trying to follow Christ. I'm just asking him to do something that I do because I want them to spend more time with the Word so they can know more what it says, and also primarily so when we do the study at 9:30, we can talk about what we read and say, I forgot what I read earlier. If you write verses or you journal or write something down, you won't be able to forget what you read because you have it right there. So when 9:30 comes, when we're all coming together at the study, talking about whatever books of the Bible we read, we can actually have a nice, thick conversation rather than a dull conversation where I'm like, okay, guys, so I read this, and then the next person says, I kind of read this, but I forgot. The third person says, I forgot to read. Okay, so then why are we doing the study? If I'm the only one that said anything, it's just kind of, I might as well just not have anything, right? I don't want that. I want all of us to come together and say, okay, I read this, and here's why I like it. Here's this verse. I love this verse. Here's why. Don't ask me if it's good enough. I don't care if it's good enough. I don't care. I want a conversation. I just want you to talk about it. That's all I care about. Is it good enough? Is that good enough? Look, I'm not grading this. I'm not, what do you mean? Oh, yep, you could have done better, and another sentence would have been better. No, I don't care. I want honesty. I want honesty. I don't want fake stuff. If you have to ask me, oh, is my takeaway good? Do you like my verses? That shows me that you're just doing this to please me. Don't please me. I'm nobody. I'm nothing. Don't please me. Please God. Please God, not me. You know? That's what I'm trying to say. I have nothing to do with anything. I'm just trying to help everyone so that way when they come to the study, they're prepared. I'm just helping everyone prepare. And everyone's acting like, oh, whatever. And let me tell you something. If you don't write verses or if you don't take verses, nothing's going to happen to you. Your salvation is still there the same as it was the day before. If you forget to read the Bible one day, nothing's going to happen to you. You're going to be fine. I struggle with this. Guess what? My friend, she told me the same thing. When I struggled and I forgot to read one day, I'm like, oh no. I told her, I'm like, hey, I forgot to read. And she looked at me and she said, okay, well, if you have time, we can read it now. She's like, what are you all worried about? And I told her, I'm like, dude, I forgot to read the Bible. That's bad, right? Because I had the wrong idea. I had the wrong motive. I had to check it off the list motive. And it was wrong. And she told me, she looked at me and she said, Moosey. Obviously, that's not my real name, but just we'll use that. She's like, Moosey. She's like, nothing, what do you think you're going to go to hell because you forgot to read the Bible today? It's like, why are you so worried? And I was like, I was dumbfounded, like, yeah, I guess you're right. She looked at me and she's like, nothing's going to happen to you. It's like, you already read it. You've read it how many days in a row and did all these things that it's like you forget one day and you think you're doomed? And she was like, that's not, it's like, what are you so worried about? And I was like, oh. That's when she made me realize, crap, I've been reading the Bible just to read the Bible. Not because I wanted to, not because I love God. I just read it because I felt like I was a slave to it. You should read the Bible out of interest. Well, how long should I read for? Who cares? Read one chapter, one passage. Read for 5 minutes, read for 10 minutes, read for 25 minutes. Who cares, man? Doesn't matter how you read the Bible. I just want the people in my group to read something, preferably one chapter, because that's what we're all doing. And then when we come together, we can talk about what we read. That way, if something happens to me and I die in some car wreck in 3 weeks, that my friends will say, you know what? Since I was reading the Bible for 2 weeks on my own, because that's what we were doing for the study, well, now it'll already be, it's not new to me. It'll be, I want them to be, like, make it a routine to read the Bible daily. Just make it a routine. Why? So that you can get in the act of prioritizing God. The difference with me and my friend was when I was already prioritizing God and just one day I stumbled and I was like, oh, and then she was like, what are you so worried about? I didn't need to worry. I was already there. I was already prioritizing God, already reading the Bible. My motive was wrong. So it's hard to explain because I just want my friends to prioritize God and get that in the routine. Once they're in the routine, I want them to be at peace. Not pressure. I want you to be at peace. Read the Bible. Make time for it. If you make time for it, what's the issue, right? Well, plus, I like talking about the Bible. I'm making the video right now. I run the study. I like talking about things like that. I like talking about it with people. Prepared people. Not people that are playing video games while we're talking, and yes, that's happened. Not people that are on their phone, on social media while we're talking, and yes, that's happened. Not people that are texting other people while we're talking, yes, that's happened. We're mid-reading a book of the Bible and we have people in the group not paying attention. No offense, I'm not mad at you, I'm just saying if you do that in school, like high school, you're not learning anything. That's why kids today tend to have lower grades and they fail tests, they fail quizzes because they're on their phone. You know, you got biology class going on or English class. You know, you got the kids in the room playing Subway Surfers on their phone. Guess what? That's why their test grades are always they're always low test grades. They don't pay attention. So if you're gonna join the group and you're gonna be on your phone, that's fine. Just don't be in the call. Like, if you want to scroll on social media, play video games, that's perfect. I'm not gonna condemn. I'm not gonna say anything. That's your will. That's your free will. I'm not gonna get involved. Just don't do it in the call when we're talking about the Bible. It's just disrespectful. You know? That's all I'm saying.